very nice piece of fat wood. I was going to have a bit of that. Made a couple of saw cuts to try and prise it out with my knife, and I seem to have stirred up a bit of a hornet's nest. So I think we'll just leave it be. Well, I've been going for about an hour, just over an hour now, and I'm up on top of the hill I was aiming for. Managed to avoid the brambles today to a large extent, and I'm going to now head down. There's a little col just down with a clearing where I think I'm going to stop and have a cup of tea. It's not too warm today, high 20s, so not baking but still quite warm. And fortunately not too dry. It's been raining a little bit recently, so I think we can get away with getting the Hexagon stove out for a brew. Anyway, catch you in a little bit. Well, I think we're on the right path here. We're certainly on a path. The next 2 or 3 minutes should tell the tale. I've been lost up here on occasions before now. It's quite difficult sometimes to tell between what's a path, what's a game trail, and what's just the water runoff. Sometimes they coincide, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're heading down a path and it stops in a dead end, and it turned out just to be a water runoff. I think that might have happened now. We'll check the GPS. No, we still seem to be on the path. Keep going. Trouble is, also now and again opens out into glades, and the path just tends to disappear. And then you have to try and sort of pick your way across and try and pick it up on the other side. And this looks slightly hopeful. And yeah, according to GPS, we're not quite on the red line, which is the path, but we're going in the same direction. And that could just be under the tree cover that the accuracy is down. And yes, here we are. This certainly seems to be the path. So if all is well and good, we should break out very shortly into a clearing. And yes. Yep, there's the 4x4 track just below, and they converge just up here. Now fortunately, on the way up, I found another piece of fat wood, so all was not lost. After disturbing the ant's nest earlier, managed to find a bit which should serve our needs. Not quite as impregnated, could be better, but not bad, and I think it'll do. And here we are, one glade. Look at that, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? If we can focus on the distance there. No. A bit hazy down there, but we're right up on top here. Not a tree cover, but where it does break out, you've got incredible views on both sides. And now, time for a brew. Right, got a brew on the go. Scraped away a little bit and got it on a stone. It's fairly dry, so but we'll be alright with the Hexagon. Make sure no little bits drop out. Now this pot, I'm rather chuffed about that. I was searching around everywhere for something which would nest on the bottom of my 2-litre Klean Kanteen. Couldn't find anything. A few things on the internet which looked, they might be around about the right size, but it's always difficult to tell exactly how it's going to fit, and I didn't want to risk spending 10-20 euros on something for it on the internet for it to arrive and find that it didn't fit, either a sloppy fit or even worse, didn't fit at all. And then one day I was in IKEA with my wife, and I saw a kids cookery set which I'll put a photo up of the box so you can see what I'm talking about. The main pot of that set looked like it might actually be a fit, so I bought it. It was only €10 for the whole set, and got home. Sure enough, fits like a glove. Nice snug fit, push fit. Pick the pot, the canteen up, and the pot doesn't slip off. Really does fit like a glove. Had a couple of little handles which I hacksawed and dremelled off. Didn't want to rip them off because they're spot welded, and from past experience, pulling out a spot weld tends to pull out a little hole in the pot itself. So anyway, got myself a nice little nesting pot for my Klean Kanteen. It's only half a litre full right to the brim, but nonetheless perfectly adequate for a brew pot come cup, and yeah, really chuffed about it. Cheap and a perfect fit. Now I think it's just coming up to the boil, and a well-deserved brew after the climb. Whoa, and I think I'll just set light to my trousers. Whoa. Move back a bit. Yes. Bon appetit. Well-deserved cuppa. And now all that remains is easy bit. Walk along the ridge and back down the track. This has got a... This is my usual stomping ground up in the pre-Pyrenees. Lovely area. I've been coming up here for quite a long time. We bought a caravan about 8 years ago. I got laid off. The company I was working for went bankrupt, and my wife was working, so we were okay. And we decided to spend my redundancy check on a second-hand caravan, and probably the best thing we've ever done. Little bolt hole, and set in a absolutely fantastic part of the country. And where I am now, it's like a little horseshoe valley. The road goes along the bottom, a couple of miles down, and it's all quite thickly wooded, a ridge up, and there's a ridge along the back which goes right across, and little horseshoe valleys run up to it. And so you go along the back ridge, and then there's another ridge goes down the other side towards the road. That, or there's a track which zigzags down in the valley, and I'll probably go down the track actually because I don't want to be too late back. Folks are waiting for me down down the bottom. But now on the ridge that runs along the back, and that occasionally opens up with some fantastic views down towards the road. And there's actually, I won't give it away in case no one wants to find it, but there's a geocache up here which me and a friend placed some years back, and it was fun. Come up here and we hit it with the kids, and you occasionally see that people make the effort to come up and find it. Either the times we've checked the notebook which is in the cache, or looking on the geocache website, occasionally see people have registered. And, the ridge is not exactly flat, it goes up and down, as you can see. And this is one of the up bits I'm on at the moment. It's got me thinking I really need to do this more often. Well, I've just broken out into a clear patch on the ridge, and that's what lies down there, the road down the bottom there, and that's sort of the horseshoe valley that the camera's looking straight down now. That's where we've just come from, and that's the ridge. A little way along there and we come to the next peak. Let's get on. Without giving too much of a spoiler, the geocache is about 20 metres back that way, just behind the little clear spot that I just stopped at. And apart from that, just have to come down here and find it. Really is worth the trip, I can tell you. Top of the ridges, it all looks pretty samey all the way along, and you have to be pretty alert to pick the spot where you have to turn right to head down, otherwise it's very easy to keep going and miss your turning. Round about here, I think. Found the turning, and this is the other peak, and now it's just a short trek through the woods and onto the track, I hope. We don't get lost. So one of those places, no real path, you sort of just pick your path the best you can. Now, sit that there, you can see it, that is almost grown out now. That's sort of what's left of a blaze. That's the first time I came up here, about 8 years ago. So GPSs were still fairly expensive and I wasn't in a position to afford one. So I picked my way up here through the woods and put blazes on the trees with my knife, and yeah, that kept me going for 2 or 3 years. Quite a decent path. You know, it's exactly rocket science, you know, you couldn't always follow it. Just a case of picking your way through and looking for the next blaze. Sometimes you missed one. There's probably duplicated blazes and blazes on one side of a tree and the other where I got lost on the way down, couldn't see the blaze I made on the way up, but fairly reliable and fairly good fun. GPS has perhaps taken a little bit of the fun out of it, but a little bit more reliable. And get technically lost with a GPS, but you know exactly where you are. And worst comes to the worst, just set a straight line path and blunder your way through the woods and the brambles until you get where you're going. Right, now where are we going? Right. This way, I think. Now, it was supposed to rain today. It's starting to cloud over, but it's held off for the moment. Hopefully the weather will be kind and I'll be able to get down before it breaks. Right, basically keep following down this high bit. Looks like something's died up here. It's a jawbone of some sort. Don't know quite of what. You can see that. Out of the woods, literally. And on the track. And I think I'll just jaunt down the track rather than blundering down the other crest through the woods. I've managed to avoid too many brambles up until now, and no point tempting fate, is there? And next stop, a nice ice cold beer. I'll see you there. Actually, before we get back to that beer, for some reason I did something wrong with it, didn't turn the camera on or something, and didn't actually film myself getting the Hexman stove alight, but that piece of fat wood did the job wonderfully. A few shavings off that, and it sparked up from the fire still in no time. So, good stuff. I'll hang on to that. Got that going, then lit the Hexman block off the burning chest. Path can be a little slippy at times, quite gravelly and quite steep, especially when you're looking at the camera and not where you're going. So yeah. Avoided the brambles and cut my finger falling over. Never mind. So yes. Yeah, I can never seem to get Hexaman going direct from a spark or a ferro rod. Doesn't seem to take. I don't know if that's me or whether that's about half of the course, but always find I need to get something burning to get a flame to get the hex block going off. But yeah, no problem. A few shavings of fat wood, got a little flame, and got the Hexaman block going. Anyway, that really is it. I'm going to dab the blood off my finger and get down for that beer.